New Year to all my knitting family, to all my podcasters, and to all the people that follow me. Welcome to the StitchyJam Knitting and Sewing Podcast. Welcome to 2024. I hope you guys had a good Christmas and New Year celebrations. And can you believe it that we're in the end of January already? And yeah, I hope your January's been good. Mine's been pretty challenging. My schedule with work's been all over the place. My body clock's a bit out of whack because of it, but I have had some downtime in between all of that, which has been great. Some of which I've been knitting, some I've been to the beach, catching up with family and attempting to catch up with friends. But as you probably know, that sometimes that's quite difficult because schedules don't always align. But yeah, I thought I'm a bit tired after work, but it's almost the end of January and I haven't had a chance to do a podcast this month yet. So sorry about that. That's my cat running into the water bowl. I've got two cats. One's called Turtle and one's called Flash. If you want to see some really cute pictures of them, go to my Instagram account at StitchyJam. If you want to see anything knitting related, and I'm like really into bugs and nature, bushwalking, and yeah, just anything green really. Go and check that out, and yeah, I'll put all the links below as usual. So I have made a little bit of progress on some of my whips. I have may or may not. No, I have. Cast on another one. I was just needing a palette cleanse knit, as the two other knits I've got are quite big projects. Yeah, so I'll show all three of those to you. I also start, about a year ago or so, I did some sewing classes. And I made a pair of pajama pants. If you go back to one of my first podcasts, I think that I was talking about them then. And I haven't been back since. However, I start a new lot of classes in February, and that goes for about 8 weeks. So I'm excited to share that with you, and I'll take some footage along my journey. And I've got a few sewing projects in mind this year, and I've got a few knitting projects in mind for this year. So I'll have a bit of a chat about those. Yeah, so in terms of acquisitions, I have set myself a goal to just use Stash this year. Now, when I say that, that doesn't include, I have a 4 to 5 week trip overseas this year planned, going to the UK, including Scotland, England, hoping to get to Shetland and across to Norway as well. So my goal is to not buy any other yarn until I go on that trip. So it'll be stash busting in 2024. Which is really hard, especially Tales from Cuckoo Land just designed her own line. She partnered up with someone. I can't think who off the top of my head. I only watched the podcast this morning, but I'm sure if you follow Gaynor that you will know what I'm talking about. However, at the moment I'm trying to resist. We shall see. We shall see. That's the goal. That's the goal, is using up stash in 2024. And yeah, so the only thing that I have acquired so far and am going to acquire more of tomorrow, I'm actually driving out to the country tomorrow to pick up some alpaca fleece. And I was lucky enough, I went to the Sewing Basket, which is a shop in Sydney run by a charity who employ people with disabilities, and they have lots of amazing things to do with sewing, knitting, anything crafty, embroidery, etc. and really good bargains you can get. So I managed to get, and I'll just show you a little bit of it, some Merino fleece, as you can see here, which smells amazing. So I've got that in here at the moment. So got 500 grams of the Merino fleece, and I'm picking up an alpaca fleece tomorrow. Now, I don't know how to spin. I don't know how to look after fleece. I don't know anything about it, but my plan is to learn and to learn how to spin in 2024 as well. So I'm really excited about that journey. I'm looking into some classes, but yes, anything you have to share about spinning or any YouTube videos that you think might be of use, I've seen a few that would be really helpful. Just put them in the comments below. Yeah, so grab your cuppa and I'll show you where I'm up to with my work in progress. And yeah, let's go. So the three things that I have in my whips at the moment, as you know, I'm doing the Boneyard, for those of you who watch my podcast, for those of you who are new here, welcome. How you going? If you're into knitting, you like a good Aussie accent, then hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my podcasts, and follow, like, and share, comment if you wish. All of it's very, very helpful and will help me to get discovered by the rest of the other knitting podcast community. Yes. And anyone that just loves talking about knitting. So the Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West, I have started. I have made some progress on that. However, it's one of those projects that it's my first ever shawl. And the yarn, I really love the colors, but the texture of it, I got something that's blended wool and nylon, a natural nylon, and I don't know how to describe it, but the texture of it, I find difficult to knit with. But the reason I got that is because I am going overseas and I want something that I can throw into my backpack and that I can wash while I'm on the road easily and not have to worry about hand washing, etc. So at the moment, although I have made some progress, I've also kind of put it in the corner, if you like, which is why I cast on the Michele knitted hat beanie by Sarah Punderson in the meantime, because I needed something to just have a palette cleanser. And yeah, I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. And I've also made progress on my simple pullover by Tonia Barry. So yeah, so with my shawl, I've got my lovely Emma Ball project bag, which is one of my favorite project bags. And the progress is not much, I have to admit, but there is progress. And that's with that Zubaball yarn. The information will be in the caption. It's in my previous videos, I've talked about it. So this is the progress on this shawl. Now the only thing with using this variegated yarn is that you can't really see the definition of the Boneyard shawl very much. So I will probably make another one using just something that's plain so that you can see that definition. But this was my first shawl ever, and I wanted to use this yarn so that, as I said before, that I can just throw it in my backpack and wash it easily while I'm traveling around Europe. So I will endeavor to pick that back up. And now that I've just picked it up to show you, I'm actually getting a bit excited about it again to knit. So that's good. I'm glad. Sometimes we put them in the corner we give it a rest and we want to pick them back up again. So the simple pullover, I've been doing a lot of train travel. I've been up to my dad's in the Blue Mountains a little bit. I've had more of an opportunity to just sit and knit, and this is one of those knits that I can be done anywhere and can be done because it's just a knit stitch and there's no sort of pattern or anything, but this is how far I've come with the body of this sweater. So I'd say I'm about halfway in the body, and then I'll be able to move up to the sleeves. Maybe even, let's see, I think there's like maybe about this much to go. But that's how I'm enjoying the process of that. And that's soft squishy alpaca, drops alpaca, and that's the forest green color. There's a really good photo on my Instagram of the colorway for that one. And my current whip, which is the Sarah Monty hand knits, it's called Michele, and it was on Sarah Punderson, designed by Sarah Punderson. Okay, so I think that's why it confused me a bit, because it says Sarah Monty, but yeah, it's called Michele, designed by Sarah Punderson. Now, I have helped Fibre Art Shed, which are an Australian wool supplier. They have a mill in Australia, and they did a crowdfunder for basically they want to go to zero waste, and they already do reclaimed yarn, and their goal is to use the leftover yarn that they can't turn into anything, like it's too small, into fertilizer pellets for the garden. Now they've made enough money for that to go ahead, which is amazing, and I just love that they are really conscious about not wasting anything and putting things back into the earth and really having that regeneration. So I've given them a donation for that, and in return they sent a skein of 100% reclaimed, sorry, not recycled, mill waste yarn. And it just feels delicious. It smells delicious, and I thought it was perfect for doing this beanie with, or hat, depending on which part of the world you're from. So the progress, I started this a week ago, and I'm super proud. You guys that know me, you know I'm a new knitter, but I'm getting better and I'm getting faster, and my tension is not so tight. And so it's good. I'm really proud of this. I did make one error along the way, which I fixed myself for the first time. I had just one tiny little bit of help from my mum, because there was one extra stitch, but I couldn't find where it was. But we got there in the end. So this is where I'm at with that. And it's such a sheepy, fluffy, rustic feel, and it's probably my favorite yarn that I've knit with so far on my knitting journey. Second to the first yarn that I ever knit with, which was this green that my mom made a jumper out of. And if you go back to my first video, you'll see that. So this is the progress I'm making on this, and I'm probably about halfway. It's a slouch hat, so I'll do another sort of this length and then start to decrease. So it won't take me very long, and I imagine in my next video I will be able to show you a finished product. So that's my 3 whips and the progress that I'm making on those. And my plans for 2024 include the Lichen and Moss hat by Sue Lazenby. I'll put it here. The Dumbledore Christmas socks by Erica Lauder, which I'm really excited to do them because the finished result looks incredible. However, it will be my first pattern that I need to follow a chart on, and so that's another skill that I'll be learning. The Scotch, I can't say this. I can't say this word yet, but it's the Stodge Mittens by Ronja Hakalento. Sorry for mispronouncing that. And then I also want another cozy like jumper, sweater, cardigan, not entirely sure yet, that will match my new squishy hat. And yeah, so I'll put some photos over this if I can figure out how to. I mean, I'm good at video editing in general. I'm actually a graphic designer and I am an ex-social media manager as well. And so I've done quite a bit of video editing. But when it's your own sort of baby and project and you're not editing for someone else and you're editing for yourself, you kind of sometimes get a bit overwhelmed by it, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. It's, I don't know, imposter syndrome takes over, I guess. The other part of it, in the beginning I put music with it and I enjoyed doing that process, but I just felt that the music I chose wasn't really right for my podcast. And so I haven't added any extra footage in quite some time for this. But my plan over the next year is to get better at that, find some music that matches and add in some more clips of the process of me knitting and sewing. So hopefully that's something that you will enjoy too. And yeah, watch this podcast evolve over the next few months. That's all from me today. It's lovely to catch up with you. I hope that whatever you're knitting is amazing and working out and feels squishy in your hands. I would love to get to know you better. So please tell me a bit about yourself in my comment section. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you can catch up with me again in a few weeks' time. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Peace and love.